Hi there! In this week's video, I'm going to be painting realistic skin tones in watercolor using only the primary colors, so red, yellow, and blue. In case all you have available is a basic set of colors and you want to paint a portrait, you'll be able to create a wide array of skin tones with just a few colors. To begin, I'll be creating a mixture of yellow and red and dilute it with a bit of water, and it's going to give me a very light, pale, peachy skin tone. To warm it up, I can add a bit more red, or I can add a very slight touch of blue to make it a bit cooler. Be very careful when you're adding the blue because it can very quickly turn purple. To create even more shades, I can just simply vary the amount of red or blue that I add into each mixture. For a medium skin tone palette, I can use this same base mixture of red and yellow and a touch of blue, but give it a little bit more depth of color, I can also add a hint of green. Now for some reason, if you don't have a green paint, you can obviously make it with a little mixture of your blue and yellow. Then bit by bit until you find the right tone, add your green mixture into your base to create a more medium range skin tone. To darken up these medium tones even more, you can add in a bit of brown. With brown obviously not being a primary color and you may not have one readily available, you can just as easily mix brown by mixing red and green together. And the more red you add, the warmer the brown will be. The more green you add, the cooler the brown will be. For darker skin tones, the same rules all apply, but to add more richness to the color, you want to double up the amount of brown paint that you add to your base mixture. So by deepening the brown with either more red or green or even a bit of blue and adding this to your base mixture, you can achieve a darker skin tone. Remember to swatch as you mix so you're aware of the color you currently have, and you'll know when you finally reach that color that you've been looking for. Be so careful with the blue paint. I cannot stress this enough because I made purple so many times and people don't normally have a purple skin tone. If that's what you're going for, that's perfectly fine, but I ended up doing this on one of the first ones that I tried and it looked a little alien. Unless that's the look you're going for, then that's all cool, but that's not what I was going for, so I just wanted to give a heads up. Careful with that blue. It is strong. This was really fun for me to do, and I wanted to put it into practice on an illustration, but I wanted to paint more than just one skin tone. So I've got 3 characters here that I've drawn, and I plan on giving them all a different skin tone, or at least trying. I really wanted to challenge myself here to be able to paint 3 completely different skin tones, but still have them all be realistic with their respective shading and highlights. But what I've come to realize is that as much as I love the realistic look, with my watercolor paintings, I want to try to go for a much more loose and flowy feel and not worry so much about the realism of the piece. So this probably is going to end up looking more like a cartoon or illustration, which I'm completely fine with. I can keep my realism to my graphite and colored pencil pieces now until I feel comfortable enough to start trying that in watercolor, because for me personally, it is much harder to do realism in watercolor. So before this footage that you're seeing right now, I had actually already attempted this painting, now hold on to your butts, 4 times. And I know it sounds crazy. Even my husband was like, "What are you doing, woman? Move on with your life." And I really wanted to. I was so sick of painting the same thing over and over with nothing but failure. It was so discouraging, but I just really loved this sketch so much. I didn't want to give up on it, and I'm really glad that I didn't. But the problem that I discovered I was having around the second failed attempt was that the ultramarine blue that I was using to mix in my colors was separating from my mixtures, and it was even showing on the paper like it wasn't mixed at all, like I had just put a layer of blue on top of my other colors, and it was really strange. And so with a little bit of research, I found out that ultramarine blue does have a bit of a bad reputation for granulating and not mixing with other colors as well. So what I ended up doing was just going with a tube watercolor from a Hobby Lobby set called Master's Touch, and it's a phthalo blue, and it ended up working much better. So be aware, ultramarine blue I do not recommend for mixing with skin tones. Since I only used red, yellow, and blue to create the skin tones for this piece, I thought a cute theme would be that each girl could be represented by one of the colors. I also found a problem I was having with my colors where they were drying with very hard edges, so there was not that smooth, flawless skin look at the end. So what I realized I needed to do was use the wet on wet technique, where you wet the area of the paper before you put the color down, and then it seamlessly blends into itself and you get that smooth finish that you typically want when you're going for a skin tone. I feel pretty silly for not realizing this until the 5th time, but hopefully that means progress, right? Well, I think that's all I have to say for now, so I'll go ahead and keep my mouth closed and let you enjoy the rest of the video, and I'll see you at the end. Okay guys, that is the finished piece. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please click the like button. And if you enjoy my content and want to see more, please consider subscribing. I do plan on putting out a new art video every week, so I hope to see you then. Alright, thanks guys, bye!